Guys, Jeff back with another video review. Today we're going to do something a little different. Normally I do videos about adventure team themed customs that I've done, but today I'm going to switch gears and share with you some old kit bashes I did about 20 years ago. I was on Matt's Creative Projects page the other day checking out his New Year's video, and for those of you who don't or aren't familiar with Matt's Creative Projects, it's a YouTube channel and the guy does really cool customs. I will share the link in the description for his page. I highly suggest you check it out. He shared a few of his figures from the past year, and it inspired me to go up in my attic and dig out some of the old military themed figures that I had. About 20 years ago, I was really into kit bashing military figures. I actually cut my kit bashing teeth originally on military themed figures from Hasbro, 21st Century Toys, Dragon, and the other manufacturers who were really big at the time. In fact, back during the early 2000s, the post 9/11 era, patriotism was at an all-time high, and it seems like it was also reflected in the 1/6 scale military line. There seemed to be a ton of different manufacturers who were doing amazing projects. You could go in the aisle at Toys R Us and you could see a myriad of manufacturers with a lot of cool figures. I have a ton of that stuff. I went in my attic the other day and did a little reminiscing, and I dug out some stuff to share with you guys. So today I'm going to share with you a few of those figures, and I also plan on doing that periodically throughout the year. As I dig through and go through my collection, I'll pull out those figures and I'll do some videos for you guys as well. So I'll stop the video here. We'll go back to the shop and I'm going to share with you 4 of my figures that I did about 20 years ago. Welcome back, guys. So here's the 4 figures that I mentioned in my intro. Like I said, back during the early 2000s, post 9/11 era, there were a lot of different manufacturers who were making a lot of really cool figures. They had a lot of cool sets. You could find them all over everywhere. Toys R Us, Walmart, as well as a lot of other retailers. Online, I know Cotswold Collectibles carried a bunch of stuff, as well as Monkey Depot, and there's probably a ton of other ones that I can't even remember. But one of the things I started to get into as we watched the news coverage of all the military figures is I started to want to kind of make my own kit bash figures, because I always had a plan of doing photo stories. Back then I didn't really have the time to do it because I was working a lot. I lived at home with my parents, which the positive thing was it allowed me to build a giant pirate's chest up of 1/6 scale figures and accessories. Still have almost all those to this day. They're stored in my attic. I've got them all documented and cataloged. So after seeing Matt's Creative Projects post or video, I decided to pop these 4 guys out. And we'll go through each one of them individually, and I'll explain to you my thought process behind each figure and how I went about doing it. Okay guys, first up is a figure that I don't really think needs any introduction at all, but Conrad Hauser, aka Duke. This is my Black Ops Duke custom. So this figure was inspired by the cover of G.I. Joe issue number 5. Not the Marvel Comics version, but the Devil's Due version that was published through Image Comics a long time ago. I thought the figure on that cover was really cool along with the story, and I wanted to do a kit bash of a Duke figure that was inspired by this cover. Duke was one of the first Real American Hero figures I got through the mail-in process. For those of you who remember, you were able to save flag points and just pay for shipping, and they offered various mail-in figures for the G.I. Joe Club back in the early 80s. Well, Duke was originally offered, I believe, as a mail-in figure, and that's how I first got him before he went to retail. I've always been a big fan of Duke as a character in the Real American Hero line, and as you saw with the cover of G.I. Joe number 5, I thought that was a cool looking outfit for Duke, so I decided to make a Duke figure. The first thing I did was source ahead, and this is a Duke from the late G.I. Joe Valor vs. Venom line, I believe. Those heads in that run of G.I. Joe figures were probably some of the better head sculpts Hasbro did. They're sneaky hard to find, but there was some really good head sculpts in those figure lines, which I always found interesting about the later run of those G.I. Joe 12-inch figures that were inspired by the Real American Hero line. It kind of brought an end cap to the two eras of Hasbro's resurgence in the 12-inch market, being the reintroduction in the 90s with the Hall of Fame line, which was centered around the Real American Hero characters, and it kind of ended up the same way with a 12-inch line centered around the Real American Hero figures. But needless to say, this head was the one that I sourced for my Duke, and it's, in my opinion, probably the best Duke head sculpt of all of them. That's even including the Sideshow Toys Duke head sculpt. This is just a fantastic head sculpt. I put it on a G.I. Joe super articulated body. Put the head in the boiling water, popped it off, put it on the body, which is about the only way you can do this without breaking off the neck posts. And then I just went ahead and sourced different fatigues. I believe he's wearing a set of Blue Box Toys or BBI Navy SEAL black fatigues. He's got a bulletproof vest. He has the Dragon Models Navy SEAL boots. I believe Dragon Models elbow and knee pads. And I can't remember where I got the harness that he has for rappelling. The gun is a Dragon Models, I believe, Special Dev Group Sean gun with a door breacher. So I probably used different guns for him. The only thing I regretted about doing this figure is I didn't really take the time to fix his holsters. So, normally I would have taken the holsters apart and flipped them around so they matched, but I didn't really do that back then with it. I probably won't do that ever. I'll just leave him the way he is. I kind of like this guy the way he is. So, it's a cool figure. This is not one of the first customs I did. It's probably one of the later ones I did, along with the Sergeant Savage figure, but I kind of misspoke when I said the early 2000s. This is probably maybe 2003-ish, maybe 2002-ish. I can't remember. It's been so long. But I like this figure a lot. I've always been a real big fan of the Real American Hero line. Obviously, I grew up with it. I've liked the Adventure Team line the best out of all. But, having had a lot of the Real American Hero figures, you develop favorites. And Duke was one of my favorites. He's just a standard military guy. So, naturally, I would have done a custom for him back then and when I was into the military figures. And hopefully later on this summer, I plan on having a crossover with him and my Adventure Team. I've got it all kind of figured out, so be looking forward to that. So this is my Black Ops Duke. Okay, guys, so here's my second figure I wanted to share. This is my CIA advisor. For those of you who aren't familiar with this head sculpt, let me give you a close-up. This is, in my opinion, one of the best head sculpts Hasbro ever did, and that's including all eras of G.I. Joe 12-inch figures. This is Sergeant Savage from the much maligned G.I. Joe Sergeant Savage line, which I believe was inspired by Joe Kubert's work. I think he advised on that a little bit. For those of you who aren't familiar with Joe Kubert, classic Sergeant Rock artist from a long, long time ago. He has two sons that are really, really good artists as well. But this was from the Sergeant Savage line. This figure that they did was on the Hall of Fame style body and probably came with, he was probably my favorite figure from that era. That's the Hall of Fame style, those blocky mannequin bodies. It had a really cool machine gun in it. The figure was just really well done. I got the spare figure really cheap on eBay a long, long time ago when I did this custom here. I don't even know if you could find that figure anymore for as cheap as what I got it. But this figure's head sculpt is awesome. So like with all the other figures I've done on G.I. Joe bodies, I of course, boiled the head and put it on a super articulated body. The cool thing about the Hasbro heads is that you can swap them out with almost any body. The G.I. Joe Hall of Fame figures, which had some really cool head sculpts, you can take those off and put them on the later Classic Collection style figures. The only ones I believe that you're not able to do that with are the 30th anniversary figures, I believe, which had a different neck post, and they were a slightly different figure. So, but yeah, you can swap out most of these. This is what I did with this figure. I love the Sergeant Savage head, so naturally I thought he was a cool, greedy-looking guy, so he'd make a great CIA advisor. He's got the Dragon Navy SEAL boots, Dragon knee pads. I think he's got a G.I. Joe green t-shirt and Dragon and BBI accessories. Turn him around here. I just kind of kitted him out. He's got a really cool 21st Century Toys suppressed AR, or I guess M16. Might be an M10. I can't remember what it is. I used to know my guns really well, but my memory's slipping. But yeah, when I did this figure, this was totally my plan for him. And I love this figure, actually. Again, like with my Duke figure, I plan on having a crossover event with the Adventure Team with him as well this coming summer. This is a cool figure. I really think it would be interesting for like the new creation studios to actually do head sculpt of this. I don't know if you guys are familiar with them, but he does incredible reproduction heads, and I think it'd be great if he did a Sergeant Savage head. So Bob, if you're listening or watching this, I think it'd be cool if you did a Sergeant Savage head, because I think the Sergeant Savage head is actually, along with the Navajo Code Talker head, probably the two of the best ones Hasbro's ever done. And he just makes a really cool custom. He's just so gritty that he fits in with anything you want to do. There's so many options for a head like this. I just went with the CIA advisor on this figure. So this is it. This is my CIA advisor figure with a Sergeant Savage head on a G.I. Joe super articulated body with a hodgepodge of 21st Century Toys, Dragon models, BBI gear. Okay, lastly, these are the two figures I really wanted to share with you guys. Like I mentioned in the intro about Matt's creative projects and the snipers he shared in his video, these are two snipers that I did a long, long time ago. And these were a really cool project for me. Before I go into the snipers, I actually took 21st Century Toys BDUs, which are a really simple design, and I took them apart with the seam ripper, scanned them on my scanner, and made patterns for sewing. And then cut the patterns out, and then essentially I would take a 1/6 scale computer pattern and print it out on my printer using freezer paper. I would iron the freezer paper to a size of 8.5 by 11, run it through my printer and print off the camouflage. And then I'd cut it out. And actually I got a treat for you guys. I actually was able to dig out some old unused camouflage patterns that I did that I had never sewed up. So these are actually made from a 21st Century Toys. Here's the pants pattern. 21st Century Toys camouflage pattern that I later on, here's the sleeves that I printed off, and I would make clothing for my figures back in the day. This is when I was really into a lot of this customization stuff. So the first figure is this Green Beret sniper, and actually what we do is we print the pattern off. This is an old woodland ripstop pattern, and what I would do is I would take the sleeve, which is right here, and I would I'd coat it before I sewed it with burlap, just like you'd see here. And then this camouflage material you used to be able to buy through BBI. They had a sniper accessory set, and I just fished this material through the burlap, thus creating a ghillie suit. And I did the same thing on the back of the pants. So the back of the jacket, the back of the pants is coated with burlap as well. And then I just coated it with this BBI camouflage sniper material. So I did that with this figure, and then I just got a hat, a boonie hat, and just ran the camouflage material through there as well. This figure here is a Dragon Models figure. I just used some acrylic paint, painted his face. So that's how I created my ghillie suit. This is my very first one I made. I actually sewed custom knee pads on it. So this is similar to what a real ghillie suit would be. And then the other one I did is this Marine Corps one. And the sniper set that I mentioned from BBI would come with this camouflage wrap. So I wrapped his sniper rifle, Model 700, I believe. Wrapped that. And then I did this ghillie suit in the Marine Marpac camouflage, the digital camouflage. So, same principle, the burlap on the sleeves and in the back. And then I just fished the camouflage material through there, creating a pretty gnarly ghillie suit. I'll let you guys see the hats. I had an accessory set. I bought a sniper accessory set from Dragon, which is what this is. I just had it to go with my Marine. So yeah, this Marine is this Marpac camo here, this pattern here, made into a ghillie suit with the burlap. And then, like I said, the BBI sniper accessory set came with a sniper material. So I camouflaged these up with that. They're both wearing 21st or Formative Soldiers of the World boots. I thought they were kind of cool boots. So I did these a long time ago. Now the downside of these two sniper figures, I'll turn this guy around so you can see what the backs look like. They look really cool if you get them out in the grass and stuff. I wish I had some pictures of that, but I don't right now. But the downside of this, the printing the stuff off on the printer, is that I just used an inkjet, I think, back in the day. So unless you spray it with some type of sealer, it's not waterproof. So you don't want to get these guys wet. So they're more for display, you know, and stuff like that, which is fine with me. I've had these for a long time. The camouflage has held up really well. I've kept them in storage. So I forgot all about these until I was watching Matt's video. So I knew I did these snipers, and these are probably two of the best custom military figures I ever did. I really enjoyed the sniper aspect of it. I did some research on ghillie suits and how they made them, and I kind of just took that knowledge, and that's how I created these figures here. So, you know, they turned out really good, and it's my opinion that these are better than any sniper that I own. I mean, I have the G.I. Joe one. BBI did one that had this material as well, which is a really good sniper. I shouldn't say mine are better than that one, but I do like mine better than any other of the sniper sets that you could buy in the store. I think these look pretty authentic, and I was excited to do them. So, yeah, these are cool figures, and I was really looking forward to sharing these with you in my process, kind of like a Cliff Notes in my process of how I made them with the printer and the burlap and whatnot. All right, guys, well, there you have it. These are my 4 kit-bashed military figures that I wanted to share with you today. These are 4 of my favorite ones. I have a box that has all my custom figures in it that I did back in the day, and I've been going through them and putting them back together, repairing any damaged pieces. So I plan on just going through and sharing with you guys throughout the course of a year a few of my different military customs as a nice change up to my heavy adventure team themed videos that I normally do. But these were really fun for me to do. Like I said, I cut my kit bashing teeth on military figures a long time ago and learned a lot doing it. And I really enjoyed it also in the process because I really love the military. My brothers were in the military. Got a lot of friends who've been in the military, and I just have a lot of respect for those guys, and I have a lot of respect for the gear, and there's a lot of cool stuff that have come out of the military, and just it's a very interesting dynamic to look at, to see how people develop, gear, weapons, and camouflage, and I just find it fascinating. So, and I also like to just make this stuff because I think it's cool. So, yeah, these are these figures. I wanted to share them with you. My 2 custom sniper ghillie suits, my CIA advisor or liaison, and my Black Ops Duke. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I look forward to sharing some more of these with you because I think you're going to like a lot of the stuff I used to do. I don't do military stuff anymore just because there's so many really cool sets out now that are so authentic looking, and I'm just like, what's the point? But I do have a lot of old customs that I really am looking forward to trying to share with you over the course of the year. So like and subscribe to the page, guys. I look forward to the comments, positive feedback. If you don't like the video, feel free to do the thumbs down. It always cracks me up a little bit. It just seems like I always get one. So my contact information is at the end of this video, and I hope you guys are doing great. Cheers.